Hola, estimada comunidad, muy buenos días. Es un placer darles la bienvenida a este quinto y último día de nuestra Semana de la Creatividad y la Innovación. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre ecosistemas de innovación y vamos a tocar un tema específicamente con un invitado muy especial, es sobre el tema de innovación abierta, Open Innovation. Vamos a tener para esta primera parte de 8 a 9 de la mañana dos salas, una, como ya se dieron cuenta, de solo inglés, que es el idioma original de nuestro invitado especial, que se llama Hitendra Patel, y otra sala con traducción simultánea, donde Robinson nos estará ayudando con esa traducción simultánea en español. Entonces, vamos a tener a este invitado especial desde San Francisco, Hitendra Patel. Él es cofundador y director del Centro EXL de Innovación. Es una consultoría, una empresa de consultoría. Y vamos a tener esta misma introducción para que Hitendra la conozca en inglés. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. Before to start, it's important to know that today there is simultaneous interpretation into Spanish. We are very pleased to introduce our special guest today, Hitendra Patel. Hitendra is a recognized thought leader in the field of innovation. He is the co-founder of Monitor Deloitte's innovation practice and former senior manager of After the Little. He holds an MBA from Kellogg School of Management and PhD in Science. Hitendra is also the founder of IXL Center, an innovation consultancy with over 30 years of experience. Throughout his career, he has supported Fortune 500 companies and governments in developing strategies and generating tangible innovations outcomes. Hitendra is a frequent speaker on innovation topics and has written extensively on the subject. He is a true expert in his field, and we are sure his insights and experience will be valuable to all of us in this webinar. A warm welcome to Hitendra. We are incredibly grateful for your taking the time to share your knowledge and expertise with us today. Your generosity is truly inspiring, and we are all honored to have you here. The floor is yours. We are eager to hear your presentation. Go ahead, please, Hitendra.
The narrative of innovation has been written through long, hard journeys. The ordeal of anticipating change, the overwhelming task of identifying opportunities in a world in flux. This all shifts today. With the emergence of AI, we've rewritten the rules. Meet Akayo, the world's first AI-powered ecosystem platform, here to pioneer innovation bolder, faster, and cheaper than ever before. Akayo orchestrates the symphony of change, breaking down corporate silos, steering academic institutions, highlighting startups, and streamlining government operations to foster innovation. With its proprietary algorithms, high-quality data, and cutting-edge LLMs, Akayo is your AI vanguard for continuous predictive power and mechanized environment scanning, allowing you to stake bold claims on the future with certainty. From subtle advancements to bold, innovative leaps, Akayo scales from a single user to millions, growing as you grow. Lead the way by scouting emerging trends, next-gen technologies, and trailblazing startups. Transform data to impactful opportunities swiftly. Generate and prioritize R&D initiatives, and set your plan in motion by orchestrating a gathering of world-class innovators with AI-powered matchmaking. Akayo, the ultimate AI authority designed to find opportunities, align resources, and drive innovation. Exact match, perfect timing, seamless fit. With clients ranging from Fortune 500 companies to educational institutions, Akayo is setting new standards in how we innovate. Join us in shaping the future. Discover how Akayo can make innovation bolder, faster, and cheaper for you today. Visit our website to learn more. Akayo. Discover, connect, innovate.
That's great. Thank you very much. And it's an honor to be here with you for this presentation. I am presently in Spain, and I was basically sharing some of the work that we're doing on open innovation in Spain, in Madrid, and I'm calling in from Spain today. So first of all, thank you very much for having me here. My whole objective is to talk about open innovation today. Open innovation is something that has been going on for probably about 25 years now. And this first started with Professor Chisborough in California, where he said, hey, if you think you got the smartest people in the world working for your company, then you're probably wrong. There are 6 billion people who live outside of your organization. And those 6 billion people are certainly smarter as a group, than your whole company. So that was the beginning of the story of open innovation, which basically said that if you wanted to do something, the number of people that you had, the smartness of the people that you had, the assets that you had, the competence that you had to do something was probably not all inside the company, but perhaps outside. And that started the journey of what open innovation was everywhere in the world. And one of the things that happened immediately was people started using open innovation for generating ideas. And they said, let's do crowdsourcing of ideas and create idea sourcing from everywhere. And idea sourcing was an easy way to do open innovation because it allowed anybody to just kind of say, here's a question, what answer do I want to give to it? And the effort to provide the answers was not a lot. And therefore, there was very little friction between the company asking the question and the crowd, which was invited to answer the question, would participate. But ideas are not innovation. The definition of innovation is something that you do that is new, that creates new value for you. An idea has to be implemented. That idea, once implemented, has to be commercialized. And once commercialized, it captures value. And all those things are components of innovation. So when we started thinking about what open innovation really is, it includes the ideation stage, but also the implementation stage, and also the launch stage of the product or the business that you're trying to do. And that open innovation began to become a conversation which was about networking and partnering. Do we have networks and partners around the world for you to be able to do the things that you want to do? And that network and partnering eventually became the ecosystem, the innovation ecosystem. And the innovation ecosystem basically says this, very simply. It says, I do not compete with another company anymore. I compete with my innovation ecosystem versus my competitor's innovation ecosystem. And depending on you have on your networks, then you can do a lot more. So I'm going to basically start this presentation to try and set up and bring it to the end, say one of the things that we're working on is helping people build innovation ecosystems using AI and other things. So let's begin. This is the situation in the world. Up there on the top right-hand corner, 52% of all companies will die in 2 decades. 52% of all companies on Wall Street will die in less than two decades. In the 90s, 1920, 1930, 1940, companies which were started would survive 60, 70, 80 years. By the 80s, these companies who were formed in the 80s didn't last more than 20, 30 years. And now if you look at Yahoo, for example, Yahoo is gone. Yahoo started in 1996. It doesn't exist anymore. So companies and the survival rates are getting shorter and shorter. So there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure in terms of these companies trying to survive. Now, how do you survive? Companies get old, they start as startups, they grow, then they get old, just like human beings. And then human beings do their best to stay alive by being flexible, doing exercise, doing yoga, or whatever. That's what we mean by being innovative. That's what we mean by being able to respond to a changing world. And so there's a lot of pressure for companies to make sure that they survive the 20 years life sentence of a company. The other part of this thing is, when we look at it, when there is a disruption that arrives in the market, it still takes 1 year for companies to respond to the disruption. When AI arrived into the world, it took most companies 1 year to respond, saying, what does AI mean for me? What should I do with it? And how do I change quickly? So again, the delay of the changing world begins to become dangerous for your company. And the last one is all pressure. All companies are feeling pressure about this thing, about the need to innovate. So let's begin with the definition of innovation, just to make sure we are always on the same page. Innovation is something that you do which is new to your company, something that you didn't do before. And not only does it have to be new, it should also capture new value for you. That's what innovation is. The objective of doing something new is to actually capture new value, not the value you were capturing before, but new value. And that new value could come anywhere along the value chain of how you produce things, how you make your products and services, how you deliver things to the market through the channels or even the markets. And you can also innovate the pricing model and the business models. And these are all things that you want to do, which is new. And new things are available to you based on what? Technologies. New technologies that come to the world. Those new technologies could be CRISPR for healthcare. It could be robotics for Industry 4.0. It could be AI for customer service, customer products, customer experiences. It could be as simple as nanotechnologies and nanomaterials, which changes the way we make something, including a battery or something else. So technologies come to the world, and those technologies allow us to do things in a new and a better way, right? And so we need to make sure that we have a source, not just of the ideas coming to your company from inside and outside, but you also have a source for who knows a lot about these new technologies around the world. So here is the situation in general, right? If you try and do innovation in your company right now, most companies are trying to innovate based on their people, the people inside the company. And as a result of it, the initiatives are kind of weak. They're not very strong because you are not putting together what you want to do based on ambition, but you're putting together what you can do because of the people that you have based on your condition. So ambition-driven initiatives are usually bigger and bolder. But most people are saying, what can I do with the people and the labs and the facilities that I have? And therefore, the initiatives they pursue tend to be smaller. More than that, there's also the silos that form in companies. Silos means the marketing people don't talk to the engineering people don't talk to the purchasing people, and the sales people don't even talk to the customers after making a sale. And as you go outside the company to your suppliers, there's lots of silos that forms in companies because people get busy with the day job, number one, or because of the organization structure, they're physically not co-located to be able to talk to each other and collaborate. And silo thinking is one of the challenges in terms of how do you actually take care of open innovation. And then there are some companies who try and do everything themselves. They say, I want to get into robotics. And they say, I'm going to make my own battery. I'm going to make my own mechatronic motors. Well, guess what? Many of the things of a robot has already been made by other people. Why would you want to do everything? But sometimes some companies are too proud and they say, nope, I can make it better. But even if you make it better, it doesn't make your robot better. So why don't you find a partner or a supplier for what you have to do? Don't try and do everything on your own. And then lastly, you do look for partners to do things. But the trouble is your company stops you. It stops you because it says you need to get an NDA. You need to talk to the legal department. You got to make who said you had the right to talk to somebody outside the company. And all those reasons also kills innovation. And it's very hard to do that. So what do we need to do? If you look at examples of open innovation, then you might be able to argue in your company that we must find ways to overcome the silos, look for people outside, collaborate, and other things. So let's look at Nike and Armor All. Nike does not have a lot of knowledge about electronics. It doesn't know a lot about digital. It doesn't know a lot about many things which is going on in social media. But guess who does? Apple. So they form a partnership with Apple to say, hey, we know how to make shoes and you know how to do electronics. What if we were to create a joint venture alliance to create this thing called the Nike iPod Sports Kit? And now, as you do your sports, you have music to go with it. It also records what you're doing. And now you've got a full health solution that neither Nike could provide and neither could Apple. But together, they can. Meanwhile, Armor All continues just being a shoe store, a shoe company, or clothes company. And it doesn't have these technologies around it. And now we can see who's going to win on the long run and who's at threat of losing. When we look further, we got siloed thinking. Now, if you look at two companies like Samsung and LG, right? Both companies make the same sort of products, devices, refrigerators, televisions, phones, and many other things. But if you look at the products that are coming out every single year, the products from Samsung are more integrated. The refrigerator people have talked to the television people. They said, what if we put a television on front of the refrigerator so we don't have to open the door and we can show what's inside the refrigerator from the screen? Similarly, they talk to the phone guys and say, can we connect to this thing to the internet, and therefore we can even order food from the supermarket if the fridge is empty? This integrated thinking requires people from different departments, business units talking to each other. But they don't normally talk to each other because they're physically not located next to each other. Some of them are in another building. Some of them might be even in another city. And this is the case for LG. They are all isolated business units. The appliance business is not next to the phone business, and the phone business is not next to the television business. So in order for them to collaborate and interact, they have to really find mechanisms to interact with each other. And it's very hard for them. And end result is their next generation products are not so cool. Not so cool. So here we go, siloed thinking. Can we put open innovation even within a company, within business units to collaborate? Then we look at this thing called trying to do everything on your own. Google wanted to try and do artificial intelligence on its own. It had a product called Bard, B-A-R-D. And they tried to make it so that one day it could replace search, the Google search. And they found very quickly that somehow Bard, as a AI engine, hallucinated. And because it hallucinated, it wasn't as good to provide a good search engine. So they kind of stopped working on it. Meanwhile, a year and a half ago, ChatGPT is announced to the world. And bam, the world is amazed by what AI is and how it works and everything else. And you're trying to figure out what's Microsoft going to do. And Microsoft already had planned ahead and said, we will partner with ChatGPT, with OpenAI. And we will, through the partnership, not develop the AI engines, we'll use theirs. Because they're better than us, they're faster than us, while meanwhile, we'll focus on what we're good at. We're very good at creating PowerPoint, Google Excel, and Word, and we'll put a co-pilot on it. And that co-pilot will eventually be powered by ChatGPT. Today, Microsoft is seen as the winner, and Google is seen as the loser. Google tried to do everything on its own, but Microsoft said, nope, let's partner to make that thing happen. Open innovation means working with people outside of your company. And then when we look at P&G was a client of ours. A.G. Lafley was the CEO. And if you look at all the products they do and they try and make, what the CEO of the company insists on, and we were working with the Duracell, the battery, we're working with Swiffer, we're working with Tide, and all the different products. Every time we found a new innovation for a product or a service, a new type of battery, for example, we would go pitch it to the CEO saying, here's the big idea. And he and his CTO and his CFO would be sitting there listening to us. And then he would say, this is a fantastic idea. I love it. I don't want to develop it. Can you find somebody to connect with who can develop it for us? Connect and develop. I don't need to do everything. And that was the philosophy of Procter & Gamble. And they believed if you did that, you would go faster than everybody else. So why am I sharing this with you? Well, one is if you're looking for new ideas, then you can always do crowdsourcing. If you're looking for a strategy for growth, then you can also do crowdsourcing with teams and consulting teams. And at iExcel Center, which is the organization that I'm in charge of, we help companies identify the growth strategies, but we use teams from business schools around the world who compete with each other, and they provide solutions. 5 teams, maybe one from Harvard, maybe one from Stanford, maybe one right there from a school in Colombia, another one from Brazil, maybe from Cape Town, or even from China. Those 5 teams compete with each other for the CEO's attention to tell the CEO what they should do next. Now, why is this really valuable to the CEO? He is working with people who are Gen Zs. Gen Zs are the future employees of your company, but they're also the future consumers of your products. Who else to ask for what's next and what else? His employees are all looking like me, gray hair, a little old, and our ideas are only about how can I live a little longer. While the ideas needed for the company is for the Gen Zs and maybe the millennials, saying, what can you do for me now, today, or what will you do for me tomorrow? Because I am going to be a number one consumer. Open innovation, Innovation Olympics. Similarly, if you want to go beyond that and you want to try and create a true alliance, you can also use what our solution is, Akayo, which is an AI-powered innovation ecosystem. And in that product, what it does is, first and foremost, you might say, I want to create a product in the future. So you might say, I want to create a beverage that if you drink, it will make your eyes whiter, your hair shinier, your skin beautiful, and even gives you a 6-pack in your stomach. A beverage of the future that makes you healthier and better looking. Who doesn't want that? Put your hand up. Who doesn't want that? Now, the problem is it doesn't exist. So what you would do is on this platform saying, build me an ecosystem of all those people who know how to make beverages. Make me an ecosystem of all those people who know how to do ingredients that you can put in a beverage that provides anti-aging, antioxidants, and other ingredients that makes people healthier and feel better. I want everybody who knows how to make a package, a bottle, or somehow to contain the liquids. I want to know everybody who knows how to put good flavor into the bottle. And immediately this thing will start mapping out suppliers. It will map out startups. It will map out pharmaceutical companies and other companies who might be able to provide you some help. We're not looking only inside, we're also looking outside the company. And when it does that, it creates a map of a potential future ecosystem. And then you have a choice to try and connect. And this connection happens saying, hey, should I partner with Pepsi? Should I partner with Pfizer because they got ingredients? Should I partner with so-and-so guys because they're doing R&D on a new flavor? What should we do? So it does matching, just exactly, and I'm going to say it, exactly like Tinder. You find a match, but here the match is around technology, not around ideas, which is called normal crowdsourcing, the traditional open innovation. It's about technology. Which technologies and competencies exist outside of my company that will allow me to be able to do anything. So now the matches are offered. Here's the match, here's the match, here's the match. And just like in Tinder, if you like a certain match, you can click and say, let's go to the chat room. Let's talk to each other. And that creates an enhanced with AI nudges saying, go talk to each other and build this whole thing together. That's how this AI enabled ecosystems are being built. You imagine, first of all, you have a problem. Based on the problem, it generates an ecosystem of suppliers, partners, internal people, and external people. And then it asks you, which one do you need to maybe collaborate with? And then puts you in a matchmaking room, and then off you go. So, what is the idea if you use open innovation? Not open innovation just for ideas, but open innovation for idea and implementation and launch and rollout for all that part of the innovation pipeline. Well, the first thing you can do is, because now you can imagine partners around the world who can help you do something, you may think of doing something bigger and bolder. Think of John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy says, put a man on the moon. How can John F. Kennedy in the president's office put a man on the moon? Well, he says, we're going to get NASA to help us do this. And NASA knows a little bit about rockets, but we're also going to invite all the companies, the military defense companies in the United States, to support the creation of new fuels, new rockets, new suits, new something, and everything else. At the end of it, through that open collaboration, the project for putting a man on the moon included 400,000 people, all putting their hands up saying, I want to be part of this amazing opportunity. It wasn't 5 people in the White House. It wasn't the people just in NASA. It was MIT and University of Texas. It was Raytheon and BAE Systems as big companies. It was Motorola and Texas Instruments. It was NASA and also the European Space Agency, all collaborating to try and put a man on the moon. And guess what? That big, bold idea, put a man on the moon, is a crazy idea if you ask any individual. But by doing open collaboration, open innovation, President John F. Kennedy was able to think bigger and bolder. And by the end of the decade, they put a man on the moon. Amazing. You can also go cheaper and faster. It's cheaper and faster because if you collaborate with somebody else, you don't have to learn how to do something. You don't have to make the mistakes that other people will make. And because they have done it, they will just go faster because it's round 2 and round 3, the second or third time. Anything that you have done the second, third, or fourth time is always faster. So the partner who's already got the knowledge is going to help you go faster, and it will be probably cheaper. Number 3 is reduce risks. The risk you reduce is all the mistakes that your partner made to learn something. You will now not have to make the same mistakes, and therefore the risk goes down. And ultimately, the silos break down if you are able to use a virtual network that allows you to go inside and outside the company. So, who can benefit with open innovation, crowdsourcing, or let me reframe it as innovation, open innovation across the value chain, not just for ideas, but also for creating solutions, implementing solutions, and launching solutions. And the market that can all benefit is governments. They should be using this sort of things to be able to stop wasting resources. It should be corporations. It should be academia, and also every single tech hub that you might have out there. Main purpose of all of this is it's a digital virtual line for people to connect to each other to make it easy. So with that, what I wanted to share with you is, ultimately, why can we do this today that we couldn't do before? But today, in the past, when you try to connect an ecosystem together, it had to be done manually. It had to be done by people making phone calls and talking to each other. And that world is now behind us. The world we live in today is digital and it's connected. That means every person, and I want to be very clear, there is no person in Colombia, there's no person who you would want to work in business today who is not connected digitally so you can find them, number one. Number two, with AI, you can also create trust and nudges. AI can grab documents, unstructured data, and make it structured. AI can also say, hey, you need to partner with so-and-so person, I need to partner with so-and-so person. So you're partnering. And it does nudges. It knows how to build trust. And all that was not existing 2 years ago. Today, with AI, we should be able to map the ecosystem. We should be able to get some precision matchings, AI nudges, and ultimately run campaigns. I'm going to check if the time is not my enemy. And if there is, somebody let me know if I'm going beyond my time. But I'm just going to basically provide some ideas of how this thing will be used. I'm going to stop presenting this. So I'm going to stop presenting and I'm just going to put my face over there. Thank you. So as we bring this presentation to an end, I'm sorry. As we bring this presentation to an end, what have I said? For the longest time, open innovation meant crowdsourcing for ideas. That is very much last year. Now, open innovation means also strategic partnerships, alliances, networks, and all that. It really comes down to an ecosystem. My ecosystem versus yours. And if my ecosystem is stronger than yours, then I can win. Now, it's hard to do the whole ecosystem unless you got some technology or some platforms. So there's a whole bunch of partners and suppliers for you that you can call up and say, help me with some idea management, generating ideas from anywhere. And the suppliers to do that. There are people like IXL Center who can help you with developing your what's next, what else strategy for growth. And you can outsource that to teams of 5 who can compete with each other to give you an answer. And or you can have this AI-enabled ecosystems today that allows you to set your problem in there. It maps the problem. And I want to simplify this so you can visualize this. You might say, I want to make a battery, a future battery for electric cars. So you enter battery and immediately the AI engine looks at the battery and it breaks it into small pieces. It says the battery is made up of packaging materials, electrodes, a safety circuit, an anode, a cathode, an electrolyte, and a separator. For each one of those components, then it says, this is what is being used today, and this is what the next generation of things will be. And these are the players you might want to connect with. And as a result of it, the way you assemble the battery, you also assemble the suppliers and the partners who can help you make it real. And with that, anything is possible now for you, wherever you are. If you want to make a car tomorrow, you should be able to assemble a car with open innovation. If you want to create a green hydrogen economy, you can use these platforms to be able to say, who do we need to do to assemble? What's the technology we need? Who has the technology? And should we partner with them or not? And with that, my encouragement for all of you listening in today is very simple. If you want to do innovation, you can do it alone, or you can do it with a team. A team is better than you alone. Your team goes faster and doesn't get as tired. You can do it with a team, or you can do it with a whole bunch of teams from inside the company. And that way you have more power to do what you have to do. You can do it with teams from outside the company because they've got more knowledge about certain things than the team inside. And each step, as you look at it, is more effective and more powerful to be able to allow you to get more confident, to be able to do bigger and bolder and better innovations, faster and cheaper. Thank you very much.
Wow, Hitendra, that was amazing. We are blown away by your knowledge and the passion you have for this topic. You had us all hooked from start to finish, and I know we learned a ton. We have a couple of questions, Hitendra. The first one is, what are the biggest challenges and opportunities you see for companies that are trying to adopt open innovation practices?
Yeah, good. So the first challenge is, of course, know what problem you're trying to solve. And you need to be very clear about that. A lot of people try and move into solutions immediately. A solution means you already know the problem and you already have selected the solution. But there are 1,000 solutions for every problem. So make sure you know which problem that you're trying to solve. And now with the problem, you ask, if I have good answers, will I do something with it? Be very clear that if there's a solution, that you'll actually do something with it. So don't try and do open innovation without the plan B. The next plan is, I'm going to do something with this. So now that will excite the crowd. When you do open innovation, you say, I'm looking for this problem and I am going to implement the best solutions. So that shows commitment, that looks shows intent and everything else. Most companies don't do a nice job or a clear job of those two things. Clear question and a commitment to implement the solution. Right? That's number one. Number two on this thing is the challenge that when you open the invite people from the outside to help you, a lot of people might show up and say, here, I got this, I can help you here, ABC. You need to make sure that you respond to all of them and give them respect. Just like a letter in my days, if I get a letter, I write back. Today, we are in a culture, too many messages, too many WhatsApp, too many things that sometimes we don't follow up on all the things we're receiving. If I give you my answer to help you and you don't reply to me, that's the last time I'm going to work with you. I feel disrespected. So you need to make me feel respected if you're going to invite me into your ecosystem. So that's the second issue, is you really need to pay attention to it. And the problem is, if you're not careful, you might get too many people giving you help. And do you have the capacity to provide that support? Number two, right? And the third part of this thing here is your company. Your company, as much as it wants to try and do open innovation, it's not ready. You have lawyers, you got non-disclosure agreements, and you got boundaries which says, who said you could talk to people outside the company? Isn't that my job, your boss or the boss's boss? And so people are left stuck inside the company, told to go talk to people outside the company, but no mechanism which is easy to do. An easy mechanism, agreed mechanism that we can talk to people. So that's problem number three, is can you interact with them? And then the last problem ultimately is, let's just say you do like my solutions. What's the win-win? Did you think about how I also make money? Or did you only think about yourself, about how you're going to make money? And that is normally the situation with most people, but we must think win-win-win here, because that mindset is critical. So I've stepped you through 4 points of the problem. It's not easy to do, and you must do it thoughtfully and carefully. But done well, you will be very grateful with all the answers that come from the outside.
Thank you, Hitendra. Very interesting and so important that you share with us. The second question is, how can companies measure the success of their open innovation programs?
Yeah, so this is like a KPI, and the bosses are going to ask, hey, you're doing all this stuff, what are the results? The problem with innovation is, when you use it or use open innovation for idea generation, you can report how many people participated. You can report how many people gave you ideas. But if it takes more than 1 year, usually to even 5 years sometimes, for an idea to become a product and launch, it takes time. So the problem is, our management is impatient, and our management wants to start measuring now, what have you done for me lately? And so at the beginning of this processes, you need to educate your management that we are going to provide you activity-based KPIs, activity. How many crowdsourcing activities did we do? How many people participated? What kind of answers did we get? Whatever. These are just KPIs to show we are doing this. But at the end of this, the real KPI is how many ideas actually came from outside the company versus inside. And you have to tag them and follow the project which comes through. So now you can say outside and inside is one part. But for me, the best metric to show where we are going with open innovation is how many projects did you do with a partner? Right? So projects with partners and how many partners? And if you measure the partners that you have, that's very tangible because you probably have an NDA or you got some sort of work agreement or an MOU that can be shown. So I'm not always a fan of idea generation using open innovation because is the crowd you're asking ideas for really the smartest people? Sometimes you shouldn't ask the crowd for answers. You need experts. And in other cases, if you have experts to do all this stuff, they're going to ask for money. They won't do it for free. But if you do get experts to partner with you, it's probably going to be a true partnership with the MOU. Show them that. Show partnerships as a way to go there. And then behind that, measure how fast you are able to generate an idea or generate solutions. Measure the time. And those are my two suggestions, of course. But ultimately, remember, what's the objective of all of this? Can we work on bigger projects, bolder projects? And can we do it faster and cheaper? That's your metric. Are the projects we're working on now bigger or bolder? And are the projects now moving faster and cheaper? That's your that's the only objective. Everything else, putting post-its on the wall, no, that's not innovation. The company doesn't care. It just wants big, bold innovations, fast and cheaper.
Exactly. Definitely is a matter of change of our mindset, and it's a matter of collaboration between us. And Hitendra, the last question we have is, what advice would you give to companies that are just starting to explore open innovation?
I would say make sure the challenge that you choose to solve is linked to a senior executive. So in your company, you have got business unit heads, CEOs, CMOs, chief, whatever they are. Make sure you go to them and ask them, what problem do you want to solve? If it's a problem of theirs and you help them solve it, they're going to love you. You're a hero. So first, start as high up as you can and say, I can crowdsource or I can try and find partners for your problem. Okay? And they will say, oh, great. What do I have to do? No, you just have to frame the question. Tell me what question you want to solve. Then you do what you're supposed to do and invite people and do it really well. You have to do it well. And you need to show results quickly. Right? And if you show the results from that and done well, that boss, whoever that person, senior person is, will start talking good things in the staff meeting of the executives. So you need to win. So now, which executive are you going to go after? The executive who likes innovation, the executive who likes to experiment, and the executive who has a problem. So you have a criteria. Who do you go to for the question? And then you make him or her a rock star. Give them the best outcome possible. And therefore, he or she will be your best friend. And then other executives will ask for it because he looks good. And the others are jealous. Don't say jealous, but the others would like the same thing. So that's my guidance to you. Do it well, though. And if you don't know how to do it well, if you're using a software vendor or a consultant, use the knowledge of your consultants. They've done this 15, 20, 30 times. And empty their brains also. But you'll see with them, they have discipline. It's not just doing it, they have discipline. So how to start, how to measure, what to do, and they will work. And there's a lot of work in here when the ideas are too many. But Juan, you guys have asked some really good questions here, and I'm really happy that I've got a chance to answer them.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share your expertise with us today. It means a lot to all of us. You are a true asset to this community. Thank you so much, Hitendra, and have a nice day. Take care of yourself, please.
Thank you, Juan, very much for being here. I really enjoyed myself. And for those of you who do need help with innovation and thinking about innovation, there is an IXL Center in Colombia. Feel free to reach out to Carolina Chitiva, and she can certainly guide you through this process also. But again, everything you do, ask yourself, should I do it with somebody else who knows a lot more so I can go faster and cheaper? And I have confidence so I can do it bigger and bolder.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi. Bye, Hitendra.
Okay,
Have
bye-bye.
a nice day. Ok, comunidad, entonces fue muy importante este espacio con Hitendra, como él nos lo decía. Tenemos la oportunidad de conectarnos con Carolina en cualquier momento donde tengamos como mayores necesidades o expectativas de profundización sobre el tema. También queremos cerrar este espacio comentándoles que tenemos a las 10 de la mañana el foro sobre latinización del ecosistema de innovación con Gabriel Jayón del Diplomatic Institute. Ese es de 10 a 11 de la mañana. Y a las 2 de la tarde tenemos inteligencia artificial en la innovación abierta con Marco Marinucci de Mind of the Bridge. Entonces, los esperamos en estos dos espacios adicionales, a las 10 y a las 2 de la tarde, en este quinto día y último de nuestra semana de innovación y de creatividad de Colsubsidio. Muchísimas gracias por su asistencia, por estar pendientes de nosotros y seguir colaborando y realizando este ecosistema cada vez más potente. Muchas gracias y un buen día. Listo, Vincent.